Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Ron, and today I'm going to be showing you an update on that Bushy Monstera Albo that I potted up 6 months ago. Okay, I know what you guys are thinking. Where the heck have I been, right? Well, I've been missing in action for, I don't know, it feels like a whole month. And here's what happened, okay? I got sick for a whole week. It wasn't COVID or anything. I think I just had a cough or the flu or something like that. The next week, I guess I just kind of lost motivation to do things. And so some of my plants have shown like side effects, like falling leaves, rotting roots, but it's not that bad, okay, I promise. And then I got a new car, which I had ordered back in January, and it wasn't supposed to arrive until July. So it came in 3 months early, which was a little bit unexpected. So I was busy doing that, like modifying things on it, scheduling an appointment to do the tint, things like that, because as an adult, you kind of have to take care of adult things, right? I am kind of sad that I haven't been posting lately, but you know what? We're gonna get back into the groove of things. So let me show you the progress on this poor Monstera Albo, okay? I've been meaning to show you updates on this plant, but I don't know. For the longest time, ever since that video, the plant just did not show any signs of new growth, okay? At first, I thought it was root rot. Actually, it might have been root rot. I don't know, because I never really took the plant out of the pot to check, because the medium is very chunky. There's no way that rot could have developed in that mix. At least that's what's going on in my head, because all of the leaves on there have stayed green for the longest time. It did not push out a new leaf. Several months after that, I treated the plant with a mixture of hydrogen peroxide and water. So I watered it with that mixture as you would water any other plant, and then just let it soak. I completely drenched the pot with that mixture. At least a month after that, I saw signs of new growth. So the petioles started to become thicker and pregnant, like as if a new leaf is about to unfurl. Every single vine on there, or actually except one of them, has pushed out a new leaf. So I am very, very thankful that this plant is doing very well again. So she has been sitting in my Millsville cabinet right behind me. As you can see in some of my other recent videos, she's kind of served as the backdrop. But let me go ahead and pull her out, and then we can take a closer look. Okay, here she is. Does it look familiar? I hope so. Right off the bat, you can see that the leaves here on this particular vine are starting to yellow. Now, there was a leaf on the same vine that completely yellowed. I chopped it off, and I think it was because that petiole was kind of buried inside of the soil. I don't think the yellow is progressing really fast. It is kind of progressing over the course of those couple of months, but I think these are still somewhat healthy leaves. This one, however, is developing a brown spot right here. And that one is spreading in the white parts. And I'm kind of sad because that is one of the prettiest leaves on this plant. Another thing I wanted to point out is that I was very worried whether or not this was going to survive, because this was one of the newest leaves, and for some reason, I think I pointed this out in my other Albo videos, felt very abnormally thick. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like thick. It feels thick. Like if you imagine these other leaves to feel like regular paper, this one felt like cardstock or like a postcard, if that made sense. I don't know if that's like a good sign that a plant is healthy, but it definitely felt abnormal because I have other Monstera deliciosas here in the plant room that do not feel like that. That also happened to one of the other vines on here, and I believe it is this leaf right here, which by the way is probably the most beautiful leaf on the plant right here. Look at all that white. This one is a cardstock, postcard feeling leaf because it is thick. I don't know why. The only thing I can kind of relate that to is my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. I don't know if you recall, but in the previous videos of that plant that I have on my channel, I talked about how the newest leaves on that plant unfurled very deformed, but it would also have like a very thick and succulent leaf, which is not normal. They should feel like regular paper thin leaves, right? But yeah, fast forward to today, it's still hanging on there. And when it comes down to it, I think it's just a matter of not fertilizing the plant enough. So that's something I'm gonna be talking about in a future video. I'm gonna be talking about that in a liquid dirt update video. So stick around for that. It's gonna be a 1-year update video on using liquid dirt. And I will tell you some of the things that I discovered along the way, and fertilizing is one of the topics. But long story short, you cannot really rely on using liquid dirt as the main source of plant food. Yes, it does provide like those micronutrients, but it does not provide the ratios of NPK that your plants need to thrive. So you really have to use liquid dirt in conjunction with something like a chemical or liquid fertilizer, and then you'll have really, really good results. And I think that is one of the reasons why this plant in particular is bouncing back. And I realized that about 6 months in using liquid dirt. But yeah, that's like a whole other topic. I will create another video on that. But yeah, back to the Monstera Albo. It still looks pretty lush and thick, I would say. You probably have been eyeing out this leaf. Yes, it did brown. This used to have like completely white on this side of the leaf. And it is the oldest leaf so far on the vine with these yellowing leaves. On that vine, this new leaf came out, and it still feels kind of like that thick cardstock thickness, but I think it's feeling healthier because it feels healthy. I don't know how to describe it, guys. But here's a closer look of that leaf. It is very green as opposed to like the yellowing leaves that are on their way out. So hopefully this vine continues to thrive because this is a very pretty leaf as well. So let me just show you some of the other newest leaves that have unfurled. Here is another one right here. It doesn't have a lot of variegation on it. This leaf came out of this one right here, and this one has not yellowed at all, so I'm thankful for that. And then finally, the other leaf that unfurled is this pretty one right here, which has kind of a half moon thing going on because this was the leaf that it unfurled from right here. Look how pretty that looks. So yeah, that leaf unfurled from that one. This one feels like a normal leaf thickness, I would say, because this one did feel, or it does feel, somewhat thick as well. But yeah, there are 4 vines on here. The only vine that has not shown signs of growth is, where is it? Oh yeah, it's this leaf right here, the most white looking one right here. I think it's pregnant. Like the petiole is somewhat thick So I feel like, yeah, it does look thick. So I feel like a new leaf is about to unfurl. I think give it a couple more weeks until we see new signs of growth from that one. But yeah, let me just show you some clips of what the soil mix in here looks like. If you want to know what exactly I mix in here, you can check out that potting up video. But basically, there's a mixture of regular potting soil, some pumice, charcoal, coconut chips, sphagnum moss, and I was gonna say leca balls, but I don't see any leca balls in here. It's also sitting in a concrete planter. The inside is somewhat glazed, so it doesn't have like the complete material makeup of like a terracotta or a clay pot where it will kind of wick away the moisture from the soil. So in this particular pot, it tends to stay moist a little bit longer. I can feel that right now it's kind of dry, so I'm sticking my finger in there about an inch deep, and I can barely feel any moisture. So I will also go ahead and water it in front of you guys. So the other reason why I've been feeling very unmotivated is because I am currently going through a fungus gnat infestation. And it's not that bad. I know some infestations can be really, really bad. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the worst. I've been like on a mosquito bit tea treatment for several months now. It went from like a scale of 8, and to now, I think it's at a number 3. Let me just show you a yellow sticky trap, and then we can gauge from there. Okay, so here you can see the severity of the infestation now. This has been up for at least 2 months, I would say. Before this, there would be like, let me just show you another one. Okay, this is probably the worst one. You see that? So yeah, I have 3 of these hanging up on the IKEA shelf behind me, and then I do also have one hanging in my Millsbo cabinet. Yeah, fungus gnats are no joke because it can get really, really annoying. If you don't take care of the problem, then they will just multiply and multiply to the point where you just get overwhelmed and you feel like throwing out all of your plants. So I don't want to do that. But the trick is you just have to be on top of your treatment, whether it's like a mosquito bit tea treatment, yellow sticky traps in every single pot, or diatomaceous earth, or systemic granules, or whatever treatment that you have to keep on it, because once you stop, there is a chance for those fungus gnats to continue to multiply. And we don't want that, so. Okay, anyway, hopefully the mosquito bit tea, this is gonna be like the last couple of weeks of treatments, because I am out. I'm all out of mosquito bits, as you can see. But yeah, here I have already brewed mosquito bit tea. This is a Tivana tea strainer pitcher with a built-in strainer. So what I do is I just fill that up with mosquito bit tea, fill this up with water, and then let it sit overnight. So I did that last night. So this one is ready to use. But I used like a lot of mosquito bits in here so that I can dilute it in my pitcher here that is filled about halfway. So I'm gonna create a mix of this and water with a little bit of liquid dirt and Dyna-Gro liquid fertilizer. I've been using this mixture for like the past 2 months, like I said earlier. And with it being like right in the middle of spring, all my plants are really, really happy, aside from the fact that they're suffering from fungus gnats. And I'm kind of suffering too. But yeah, this is what I do. Put some in here. I'm gonna save this for additional plants that I have downstairs. And then here I've got Dyna-Gro liquid fertilizer. Spritz some in there, just like that. And then my liquid dirt. These days, guys, I just kind of eyeball the mixture. But if you want, you can follow the directions on the packaging. And then I give it a quick stir to make sure it's very well incorporated. And then from here, I just go ahead and water the plants. Okay, so this is how I water this plant. Well, actually, most of the time, I'm just kind of going around my plant room and just watering it with the watering can. But what you want to do is, even though that method is fine as a weekly thing, every now and then you want to make sure to completely saturate your soil with water, because there are some crevices in there that the water will not penetrate, whether it's like some part of the soil that is compacted, or like there's a lot of like chunky bits in there that inhibit water from passing through. Doing it this way will make sure that it's very well saturated, because plants need water. Especially if you're using mosquito bed tea, you want to make sure all of the soil in there is saturated with that mixture. Okay, so this is also why you want to make sure you pot your plants in pots that have drainage holes. So you can do something like this. And then you can use the leftover water to water your other plants. There we go, she's very well hydrated. That is the Bushy Monstera Albo, which is still trying to become bushy. But I'm not losing hope, because it is growing again. And I feel like the next time I show you updates on this plant, it's gonna look hopefully twice as big. Speaking of twice as big, let me show you the mother plant, because she is doing extremely well. And yeah, I'm so excited for that one, because let me just show you. Okay, so here is a not very flattering view of my shelf. I do need to like clean things up here. I need to put that onto my wall. That's a project that I've been very procrastinating on. Like, I want to attach that vine onto this wall here and then let it like vine around my Mills cabinet somehow, which, by the way, I did chop up one of the longest vines on that plant, the Syngonium albo, because it's been producing all green leaves. And I left this one on here because look how pretty that one looks, right? It's got a lot of white. Of course, not as pretty as Miss Pia right here. Just kidding. So yeah, there's like the purple shamrock that I do need to like bend back into shape. Probably replace the yellow sticky trap so that I know how well the mosquito bit tea is doing, and some general maintenance like wiping the shelves down, vacuuming the carpet, etc., etc. But anyway, here is the star of this part of the video, the mother Monstera Albo. She's kind of camera shy because she's facing away from the camera, but let's bring her in for the closer look. Okay, so for those of you who are new to my channel, let me introduce to you Mother Albo. So the plant that you just saw that I put back into my Millsboro cabinet basically came from this plant. I took a cutting about, how long ago was that? Let me check. It was like when I first started my YouTube channel, February 2021. So about 14 months ago is when I chopped up this plant. I first started like an air layering on, I don't remember how many sections. I think it was 4 sections. And then I took several cuttings from that, potted up those guys into their own pots, and basically had the mother plant plus 4 propagations. And they were living in their own pots for a while. And it wasn't until 6 months ago. Actually, today makes 6 months on the dot from when I first potted up those plants into one bushier, because it's not that bushy, into one bushier pot. So happy 6 months, Bushy Monstera Albo. But yeah, this is the mother plant. Look at those crazy aerial roots. I feel like trimming them down because they are becoming a little bit unruly. Look at how pretty she looks, right? Believe it or not, I know I keep mentioning this in all of my Albo videos, but the original leaf is still here. Isn't that crazy? This is a leaf that started it all. And every single leaf that came out after that leaf is still there. I don't know, there's just something about this Monstera Albo that just, I don't know, it just continues to thrive. So here is the newest leaf. Look at how beautiful she is. Every successive leaf that came out after like the first set of leaves have come out and unfurled bigger than the previous one, which is amazing. Except for this first leaf that came out from that incision, somewhat abnormal and deformed, but that's normal. The abnormality is normal. Every time I look at this plant, I just think like how far I came from like, in terms of like my plant parenthood, because this was easily the most expensive plant that I have purchased, like really early in my plant parenthood, because usually you want to be familiar with how plants grow and then you go out and buy a very expensive plant. Well, I think I only had like 10 plants. No, definitely no more than 20 plants when I purchased this single leaf Monstera Albo cutting. And I do not regret it. I mean, it would have been a completely different story if this plant never did thrive, because I know how finicky this can get. But I guess I'm just one of the lucky ones because every new leaf on the mother plant has been super beautiful. The pot that I showed you earlier with the 4 cuttings, that's a completely different story. Probably my fault to begin with, but I'm thankful that this plant is still thriving. Let me show you a closer look. Thea, you're a mother plant too, huh? Okay, so here is a close-up of the newest leaf. Look at that. I love the ratio of green to white on there. So pretty. And then the leaf before that one is this one right here. I find it really interesting how like every alternating leaf that comes out has like a mirrored effect in terms of the variegation. Like on this leaf, most of the variegation is on the left side. Here it's on the right. Here it's on the left. Here it's on the right, and so on and so forth. Some of the leaves have like equal marbling, sort of. But yeah, it's like you can kind of expect what the next leaf is going to look like based on that pattern. But I think that's pretty cool. And then let me just quickly show you the original leaf here. This is the mother leaf. It's still hanging on. It's browning at the edges, turning yellow, but it's still here. Like it's starting to callus here. My guess is from like turning towards the light source every single day. This is where I took the propagation, as you can see by that incision point right there, which has callused over very nicely. And then you can see some area roots starting to get longer. This is back when I didn't really have a lot of humidity. And this is also when I brought the plant back home, because as you can see in the plant room here is when like some of these area roots started to grow longer. So this one in particular is probably almost 3 feet long, but the humidity in this plant room is not consistent. So you can see where this, when it first started, oops. Well, that's dried anyway, that's okay. You can see where the tip of that area root started to dry off, and then it pushed out, or it continued to grow at another point right there. And then I guess the humidity level in my room has been consistent or more consistent ever since. That kind of reminds me of that area root from my Monstera deliciosa right there. Yeah, I really need to do something about that, guys. Anyway, so yeah, that's the incision point. And then after that, it pushed out this one several weeks later. And you can see how deformed that looks, right? It's very ovally oblong. I can already start to feel that this petiole is pregnant again. So this mother plant, I don't know what it is with this one. It's a very vigorous grower for me. And I think it's because of propagating it. So when I cut it, it still had a very robust root system. And so after taking that propagation, it used that root system to vigorously shoot new growth. And I think it's very happy in there. I feel like I do need to repot it sometime soon though, because it's been sitting here ever since. And I have a feeling that the roots in there are very much compacted. And I feel like I'm gonna have to break this porcelain pot. It is glazed on the inside, that's another thing that surprises me with this plant, is that it never really ever showed signs of like overwatering, despite the fact that the pot in here is glazed and it does not wick away moisture, because it does dry up within a week. So I guess in general, I'm just very lucky that this plant is surviving for me. Well, not surviving, actually, it's thriving. So yeah, that is the Monstera Albo that started it all. Okay, so this mother plant right here, I propagated it about 6 years ago, maybe even more than that. But yeah, as you can see, the variegation on here is still very much intact. There's like this darker color right here, a gray color right there, and some of the tan right there. Gorgeous. Yeah, that's an update on this mother plant right here. Well, that's about it for this video, guys. Again, I'm sorry if you feel like I've been MIA lately, but I feel like the next couple of videos will be like just general update videos on some of the plants that I have been updating you guys on, but just kind of like just stopped. But I have not forgotten about those. I just think I haven't really filmed those plants because, for one, they haven't really shown me any signs of like significant growth. So I feel like if I showed you an update video, it wouldn't be worthy of like an update. So I've been waiting for those plants to like show a lot of growth before I give you an update on that. For example, this Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, which you might have caught a glimpse of earlier. Just wait for that one, because that one is very exciting. But yeah, that's about it for this Monstera Albo update. If you guys enjoyed it, please do hit the thumbs up. And if you haven't yet already, plant scribe. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.